The high priest of Cryptopia regrets nothing. Ian Freeman could have been a Bitcoin billionaire. Instead, he could go to prison for the rest of his life. Ian Freeman is one of the hosts of Free Talk Live, the legendary libertarian radio call-in show founded more than 2 decades ago. The show, one of the key parts of the Free State Project working out of New Hampshire, is a major tenet in libertarians. It was where Roger Ver told people of Bitcoin. They were early Bitcoin adopters. They've been active in the town of Keene, New Hampshire, and now a complicated case involving a look like a business they set up, being accused of money laundering, not paying taxes, so on and so forth. Mr. Freeman now has an ankle monitor, and it doesn't look good for his future. Let's see, who haven't we started with yet? Let's go all the way down to Dan Eve. Dan, your thoughts on Ian Freeman, Free Talk Live? They were early Bitcoiners, libertarians, and now they are facing off against the government.
Well, I must say it was a very interesting article. I'm not going to lie, I kind of floozied on the headline and was like, High Priest of Cryptopia," and I was like, "Oh, this will be easy to talk about because well, I could just moan about having my funds go down with Cryptopia when that went down, but no, it was a 700-page article that strained my eyes and took millimeters of skin off of my finger having to scroll through the entire thing. But no, it was a very good art, really interesting article, actually. It's like a real, told as a proper story about the history of Freeman and how he set up the church. And it seems like another one of these, these Silk Road type things where the FBI came in and they set up some transactions, and he got caught in the end on one of the not preventing someone from depositing money. So it does seem like a bit of a setup, but at the same time, the fact that he was sort of fibbing to the banks, etc. Although technically not fibbing, because I like the idea that he was saying about his coins, right? They're collectible coins, and Bitcoin is it's a collectible coin. There's only 21 million of them, right? So of course you're going to collect them. It's a collectible coin. So technically he's not actually wrong there. But it seems like he's quite a free spirit. Didn't really kind of capitalize on and spend out on Lambos and stuff like that. Living a very kind of humble life. So to put someone like that in jail over kind of minor kind of AML issues and KYC issues that when banks can quite literally launder millions and billions and billions openly and plainly and just receive slaps on the wrist or fine, and no one goes to jail in those. I think it's an awful situation. But yeah, very interesting story about Ian Freeman in general, and also how everything intertwines, right? So they talk about how obviously Roger Ver was there, and also I think they mentioned about Vitalik as well. He also popped up at the same place. So it's quite interesting to think about the kind of early days and all these paths crossing that are now being written about now. Very fascinating. So yeah, I think it sounds like he'll probably get caught. I did think when I saw the ankle, as in he'll go down, and maybe not for long. There's obviously an incentive for the co-founder of the church, who's also a convicted murderer, apparently. But well, I say apparently he was a convicted murderer. So obviously that adds to the kind of the story, and probably doesn't help Ian's case. But I did think actually that his bracelet was. I thought it was like the ankle thing. I was like, oh, maybe it's like a Wear wallet, and then I suddenly thought, no, you idiot! It's a monitoring device by big government. So yeah, good luck, Ian. Free spirit, free man. Hopefully free forever. But yeah, sadly, it sounds like he's going to be he's copping one for the team.
At first glance, it actually looks like he's wearing an iPhone or an Apple Watch on his ankle, and you're like, oh, that's the new Apple Watch. Like, oh, you get it on
Peak
your
performance.
ankle. Oh, nice. Let's go to Joshua Shigala. Your thoughts on the libertarians and Free Talk Live?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a full-on article, but it's kind of a weirdly written article. It sort of jumps about and just says sort of just throws things in left, right, and center, and you don't really know. Like at the end of the day, if you're going to be openly hostile, not, you know, this is the thing about Bitcoin, is that you can be pretty like hostile just by using it. It's kind of a hostile act. But if you're on air all the time and say, come on, and just living it very openly and brazenly, you know, there's a reason the guards at the toll gate are gonna chase you down if you just brazenly duck under their toll gate, you know. So it's one of those things. It's there's even like mentions of, you know, after hurricane devastated Puerto Rico in 2017, digital speculators moved to the island and vowed to rebuild it. Today, Crypto Rico seems like a glorified tax shelter revolving around the entourage of a former Mighty Duck actor. I mean, they're talking about Brock Pierce there, but instead of saying this is you know, he's achieved a lot, that guy, you know, throughout his life, and you know, they just boil it down to a Mighty Duck actor. It does read a lot like a hit piece, generally, on you know, some sort of a person who maybe you know, is a no coiner and is just angry, or maybe he got hacked early and lost all his Bitcoin and just wants to bring someone down. I don't know. It's just it's a funny thing. I do wish, which Ian, like, I loved some of the videos he would do where he'd go behind parking inspectors and put some coins in the machine just before the inspector got there, and he just they did this whole thing where they just followed parking inspectors around all day, just putting coins in machines just in front of them so they could never make any money, and they got really annoyed. It was kind of funny, but yeah, it's you know, there's some weird sketchy stuff in here that, you know, you never really know. You know, they throw around like that he was you know, blaming saying the FBI was the biggest dealer of child pornography and stuff like that, which obviously gets you know, people's anger up, because, you know, you want to protect children, of course. So these sorts of things just thrown into articles, I think anything to do with that sort of topic, I think really needs to have proper legal and consequences, because it's such a sick thing that needs to be stamped out. But it's yeah, I don't know, I'm sort of rambling here, but what I'm saying, when I get to the point, is it reads like a hit piece, smells a little bit like a hit piece, and really, like Dan said, you know, this is a free spirit. He's a guy, oh wow, you know, he's you know, he's done well by getting into Bitcoin early and seeing that Bitcoin is what it is early. But yeah, it's sort of like, what's his name that started BitInstant, Charlie Shrem, also the same sort of thing. Like, you know, they just sort of take these people down, and then because maybe a transaction ended up on the Silk Road and double hops, triple hops away, or even directly, and because he, you know, you're excited about a technology and you can't keep track of something, but obviously that's not seen like that by the state. But yeah, I wish him all the best.
It just seems like they broke so many rules, that they were just out there, you know, there's that old thing, you know, don't shit where you eat or live, or, you know, if you have a fake ID, use it to buy booze, not to drive the car. There's this obvious attention on them, and it just seems so simple to take donations, be a nonprofit, or take donations, be a business, pay your people, to have these extra steps, to have all these Bitcoin ATMs or Bitcoin vending machines, if they're going to call them that, to do all this, the church, and to do all these levels and all these complications. It just seems like an obvious way to get the FBI on your tail. And I wonder too about a little bit, maybe a failure of vision and a failure of future here, where libertarians don't want to follow the rules so badly that they blow their opportunity to become billionaires, where they could influence the rules, where they could have a real free state project, where they could have government representatives, where they could have television advertisements and education about their ideas, and whatever could be done with them could be moved forward with the power of $1 billion if they were willing to follow a few rules while this incredible currency takes off. Josh, what do you think about their failure to see this? And that, I know they would have had to follow the rules for like 10 years there, and, maybe be quiet about it, maybe pay the taxes, not have this complicated scheme, whatever it is. At the end, they could have been billionaires. They could have promoted whatever they wanted. The ideological, they have to have that purity, right? They can't.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of people like that. It's just the fact that he's a radio host. What is he not going to talk about it on the radio? Is he not going to be a rebel on the radio, on a radio show called Free Talk Live? Like, obviously he's going to be out and outspoken, and these shock jocks, like that's their whole shtick, right? Is to try to shock people because that gets listeners riled up, and why are we paying for all these wars and these governments? And so it's pretty hard for someone like that to go about and go under the radar and then come out and I'm going to buy up Super Bowl ads and talk about whatever. I'm going to lobby for the cessation of Maine